All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Multiverse Show, episode 158. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got a jam-packed session today. A lot of people on. We're going to go breeze right through this as fast as we can. First off, we have the Titan of Texas, Mr. Fame Entertainment.
What's going on, people? Fame Entertainment here from You Gotta Wait to Find Out. And I'm ready to get the show going. Yeah, buddy.
All right, and we also have the Duke of Dallas, Mr. iDizzy.
What's up, everybody? Back again. I appreciate you having me over here again, and let's get this rolling.
And we have the Baron of Britain, Mr. James Wilson.
Hello, everyone. I come bringing terror in my wake.
And we have the Don of Deletion, Mr. Mike Peter Truth.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in for another great episode of the Multiverse Show. As always, we have a great docket of topics planned tonight, so let's get it started.
And we have the infamous Inferno, Mr. Inferno.
It is a pleasure to be here. I'm ready.
And we also have the White Wolf, Mr. Samuel Tolbert, bringing up the rear. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing quite well, and we got some craziness to dive into. Let's get her done.
All right, so first off, the question we ask every single week, what have you guys been playing? Sam, kick us off, sir.
So I've actually been playing a lot of Gears Tactics, which is set to come out tomorrow on PC. It's available on Steam and Xbox Game Pass for PC. It's coming to Xbox sometime later this year. I theorize around the Series X launch, but that's just me personally. It's good. It's really, really good. It's XCOM, but it's Gears of War, and the executions and the aggressive gameplay translate really, really well. It actually works better, in my opinion, than the newest XCOM game does, XCOM Chimera Squad, which I've also been playing, and I've got a review coming out, I believe, scheduled for tomorrow. It's an experimental little title, and it's about $20. They changed up some things. Some of them work, like the alien squad mates. Some of them, like the more linear maps, aren't to my liking. Beyond that, I've been playing a little bit of Gears 5 with Nick. Shout out to him, aka Undead3XVI. We miss you, buddy. Get your butt back on here. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, Inferno, what you been playing, sir?
I have been playing recently Judgment.
What are your thoughts?
Oh man, it's opening up a lot more. I thought it was dry compared to Yakuza 0 at first, but it's starting to get really interesting, really gritty.
All right, and Mike?
So, finished Resident Evil 3. Game was great for the most part. Really enjoyed it. Once I finished that, I started playing the online mode Resistance. It's pretty good for what it is. Nice little diversion from the main game. Other than that, I did start a new game in Resident Evil 7, which is still utterly brilliant. One of the best games generation. A little bit of Modern Warfare and 2K mixed in. The next game that I'm planning to start is Deliver Us the Moon. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Just downloaded it off of Game Pass, so that'll be the next game that I start.
I've been told a lot of good things about that game. Apparently, it's pretty Lovecraftian.
Yes. So I've heard.
All right. And James, what have you been playing, sir, if anything?
Nothing new, unfortunately. I'm waiting a few more days to see how my financials line up. If all goes to plan, I should be playing Final Fantasy VII in the next couple of days, so I'm very excited for that. Other than that, Apex, WWE2K, replaying games. Replayed Alien Isolation with my dad, who hates horror films. So he had a terrible time. But, you know, at least my father, who doesn't play games, is willing to play something when the leader of Tick Games won't even give it a go.
Yep, hey.
Hate to see it.
I haven't played it either.
But apart from that, nothing else on my side. In terms of like movie stuff, there's no movie news, and what there is very, very slim. We got a title for the next Venom movie. Let There Be Carnage.
Let there be carnage.
Let there be carnage. I
like it.
I truly hope it is a spin-off of Let There Be Blood, the acclaimed Daniel Day-Lewis epic about oil. Tis but a joke. But the big news I'm happy about. Only announced like an hour ago, so this is hot off the press. David Gordon Green, the director of the brilliant Halloween reboot from last year, or the year before, the brilliant Halloween reboot, is working on a series of Hellraiser for HBO. Hellraiser, of course, the Clive Barker horror franchise started in the 80s. Hellraiser's goddamn awesome. There are like so many Hellraiser movies, and even more if you look into the novellas and the stories. So to have like a potentially like a high budget television version of this iconic horror franchise, I am so excited for. And David Gordon Green is definitely the right person to be doing it. No information about casting or any kind of stuff right now. But yeah, big up for that.
All right, good stuff. Ivan had to step away for a moment, so now I'm in charge. Anyone else got anything interesting that they've been playing? Please feel free to speak up.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, please.
No, I was recently. I don't know if you guys ever had a Blowfish. They actually just recently sent over my review code for Oh Baby. And I had been reading the comics. When I went to PAX South, they had hooked me up with the Obey Me comics that I had been reading and checking out. So I was really excited to play the game. If you guys haven't played it, go check it out. It's like $20. I should be pushing out a review for it here in the next couple of days. But definitely, I'm having some fun with it. If you're into some cheesy jokes and battle between heaven and hell, I think you'll definitely want to check it out. But I should have my review out here in a couple of days. But check it out. It's called Obey Me.
Cool. Anyone else? Yeah, a lot of news. So speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm doing things a little differently.
The only thing I've been playing is myself. I can't get rid of the art itch, so I've been playing Fallout 76. And yeah, it makes
according to hold on, let me see. You mentioned Fallout 76. Yeah, according to our contracts here, it says that I'm legally required to say nice as a result of that. So, thank you, Ivan, for incorporating that clause. All right, anyone else? Anyone else got anything?
I thought we could only say nice if it's about the Fallout games 7 games before 76.
Yeah, so there's some tricky legalese in there, and I want to cover our bases since Ivan isn't here right now. I'll check in with him on that one. Cool. But okay, if we're all good there, we really do have to make sure that we dive in on this news, some juicy stuff. Hey there, Nick in the chat. Nice, we got 2 Nicks. Awesome. But first, we have to pay the bills. And this week's corporate shill sponsor is none other than Chick-fil-A sauce. Why Chick-fil-A sauce? Because God knows we need something good right now. Okay? 2020 has been a problem in a lot of ways, but Chick-fil-A sauce is great. Allow it into your heart. Allow it in. Unlike the Rona. Put it into you. It will be all right. Chick-fil-A sauce. Okay, now with that out of the way, let's stop all pretense. We all know why we're here. Some big stuff happened. The Last of Us Part 2. There were spoilers. Don't know the context of what they were, because if anyone has seen them, they're keeping it to themselves and they're not saying a word about it. I have not personally. I know Nick in chat, not guest Nick, our Nick, Undead 3XVI, has seen it. He said it was a very big deal. Do not watch it under any circumstances. We don't know. There's some rumor and happenstance saying that it was a developer who maybe there were pay issues, that's the reason they retaliated and uploaded this footage. We don't know that. I'm just putting that out there. But the fact of the matter is these major spoilers are out there and they're being spread. So if you care, please put up mute filters. Use Chrome extensions. If you're using Chrome, there's a great blocker extension I can recommend to you. How do we feel about this? Anyone got any thoughts before I dive into the second half?
Are you talking about the one where Old Yeller wakes up from that dream that he has, that nightmare before he gets shot?
Yeah, something like that. Repeat that while I see how I can block you out of here.
At the end of the day, it was all a dream. No, I'm just playing.
All right. Let's be careful. Good jokes, but let's be careful.
I was sent links and I purposely avoided watching them because I don't want to be spoiled for myself. The only thing that concerns me is that there are people who I genuinely opinions I respect are saying that they now aren't going to buy the game because whatever was in the spoiler upset them so much.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
So I'm like, a lot of people aren't really mad. Well, people are mad that it was leaked, but I keep seeing more and more people mad about what was in the leak, let alone more than the game actually being leaked. So it concerns me, like, what happened so bad in this game to make people not want to go out and buy it.
So
I mean,
interesting.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
So I've seen the leaks and I've seen the spoilers.
Be very careful what you say.
They are huge, massive spoilers. What you said earlier, Sam, I cannot understate that enough. If you have any interest at all in this game, mute everything that you can related to The Last of Us Part 2. Honestly, if you're really looking forward to this game, honestly, I don't think it's that far-fetched to just like stay off social media and stay off Twitter until the game comes out, because these are massive spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, of all the people here, I'm the one who's probably the biggest Last of Us fan. It was my favorite game up until about 2 months ago, and I thank God I have people like you guys to like message me and say mute all of this stuff. I haven't seen anything, thank God.
Good.
I think I don't know the whole story because I don't want to read any articles about why this guy did this in case there's any hint of the actual story itself. So I'm not going to make judgments about why he did it because I just don't know. I just want to say, if you are looking up these spoilers, I don't think you really wanted to play the game like the way that the developers wanted you to. I think it's sick, frankly, for someone to do this.
Here's the problem with this too. Like, it's not even just muting certain keywords related to The Last of Us 2, but people are posting in the replies to tweets that Sony posts what the spoilers are. So you can innocently click on a tweet that was posted to the PlayStation Twitter account, and there'll be all spoilers under it. Like it's
no, Mike, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And like, that's an issue because some of us have to keep up with the news. Some of us are literally required to. And honestly, like, the only thing I can say is don't look at any replies. Look only to your official sources. Curate your follows very, very carefully.
And so Naughty Dog, in response to this today, announced a new release date, didn't they?
Yeah, okay, so we don't know if it was in response to this. We don't technically know.
I feel like possible. It's a pretty good assumption.
Because the original date was what, May 29th?
Right?
May 29th. The original date was May 29th. Ghost of Tsushima was June 25th. Last of Us got delayed indefinitely. Ghost of Tsushima did not.
It's just weird to hear. It's weird to hear indefinite just to get an announcement like 3 weeks later. That's what makes me think that their hands are forced.
I don't disagree. Don't disagree.
Well, in fairness, Fame, remember like a couple of years back when South Park was announced as indefinitely delayed, and then it came out like a couple months later.
True. I 100%. I definitely 100% get that. I don't know. It just kind of raised my eyebrow just to hear indefinite, and then 2 weeks later, all right, here's the date. Like, when did y'all decide on that date? And why couldn't we just say, hey, it was delayed from May 29th to June 19th? Why say indefinite? That was
I think because they had already delayed it so many times, it got.
It's
better just to say it's coming. It is coming. We're working on it, but we're not going to tell you when it's coming until we are 100% sure that this is the final date.
That's a
I do applaud them for if that is the situation and having their hand to. They probably had the May 19th number, or at least around then, on a board somewhere in Naughty Dog and Sony offices that we hadn't seen, and because of this, they had to instantly go. We have to create some good press that stops people talking about this. We officially announced the release date. Here's the thing. That's what I think happened.
And so, and correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we hear that the release date was changed because of COVID? I don't want to say the demonetized Big Rona. compromising people getting the physical version. So that's why they delayed it, right?
That was that was what I was leading in to try and say here. That is the reason it was originally indefinitely delayed. However, I always thought it was weird that Ghost of Tsushima was just a month later and it wasn't getting delayed. Here's my best guess. Let me finish. I think they've realized the shipment situation won't be as bad as they thought. They're still going to lose some physical sales. Okay, they're still not going to get the physical sales that they would have otherwise. Just look at the Final Fantasy VII Remake mess right now. You can't get a physical copy of that game. Seriously. I'm dead serious. The deluxe edition that was $80 now goes for $200 used because you can't get a physical copy. So they're still going to run into some shipment issues, but I think it's not going to be as bad as they thought, and then B, this has forced their hand. They have, and it makes me sick to my stomach for the developers who worked hard on this, because they have just been strong-armed into a that no matter what they do, it can't be perfect.
Now,
so I feel bad for them in that regard, certainly, but I think it's definitely a mixture of the two.
I have a hard time believing that a developer... I mean, I get it. We all heard the rumors about things not being great at Naughty Dog. We've all heard that, right? It's just hard for me to fathom someone who probably worked their butt off and always wanted to be in the gaming industry to do something that will blackball them if and when they're caught forever.
And that is
hard
the thing.
To believe.
And that's the part fame. Oh, and by the way, before we get carried away out there, Ghost of Tsushima also got delayed because it makes sense. They're not going to put those games out 2 days away from each other. It's now July 17th. So it makes perfect sense. They were originally a month apart. Now they're a month apart again. Just putting it out there. Iron Man VR, amusingly, does not have a release date. They evidently forgot about it. So I don't know what to say there. But all right, just wanted to put that out there. Going back to what you said, you're absolutely right. And that's the only reason, the only reason that despite the footage supposedly being a developer build, that I'm still having a bit of an issue here. There's leaks, and then there's, I have no sense of self-preservation. Please, Sony, train a sniper on my head.
Exactly.
This is ridiculous. This is, if it was a developer, the most malicious leak of all time. Period. End of discussion. And that's the part that I don't understand, and I want someone who can to do some reporting and figure out what happened here. That's all I've got to say about it right now, because I think when this happened yesterday, I was speechless. Like I didn't tweet about it because I literally had nothing to say. It was incomprehensible to me. Does anyone else who hasn't really spoken on it have anything that they'd like to say about this?
Yeah, I mean that's my whole thing too. Like, if this is truly a developer, what is there for you to gain by doing this? Not only are you harming yourself by leaking this, you're harming the rest of the development team too. So what are you gaining from this? I think the other thing that I take from this is, the rumor is that this Last of Us 2 leak, that it was a apparently disgruntled former developer from Naughty Dog. We heard reports a month or two ago about issues with crunch at Naughty Dog. So, if this is true, and this person was so disgruntled that they leaked one of the most anticipated game of our generation, then I mean, Naughty Dog's got a little bit of a PR problem on their hands, to say the least, and they might have to, and they're gonna have to do some damage control to straighten this out.
I agree, but even then, Mike, I have to repeat, there have been disgruntled employees before. There have been studios that literally fell apart from infighting and nonsense going on behind the scenes, and people not being paid paychecks for months on end that they were promised, and it didn't get. That's it blows my mind. It completely blows my mind.
And honestly, the best piece of PR that this studio can do is to release the game.
Yes, exactly. 100%. And that's why it was probably already, like you said, James, somewhere in discussions, they were probably already eyeing this. But after this happened yesterday, they probably accelerated those discussions times 10 and said, no, okay, we got to do this. And end of discussion.
I will say this is the biggest middle finger I've ever seen someone do towards a company in the gaming industry. This is ridiculous. And I also want to say to the people that are intentionally linking and like, hey, when people have questions, I literally seeing someone ask questions and then someone insert what happened in the cutscene or cutscenes going on in the text, and people calling them out, and then the fanboys. And I understand the console war always rages on, but it's absurd. It's like there's got to be some limits, because even people that aren't fanboys on the PlayStation side, even myself included, that are excited that I'm personally an Xbox guy. It's wrong to intentionally spoil things from one of the biggest games that we've been waiting for years. And this year is already crappy because of everything going on. This just doesn't help at all. Like, there's the hardest of core, it's gotten ruined for them. And there's some people that are okay with spoilers, and people like me, especially with Sony games, story is huge. And I know I've seen a little bit, and I read what that person said. I was like, really? Come on. So that's as far as I've gotten with it, but it's absurd, and we really shouldn't be intentionally trying to ruin things for other console war or not. You gotta remember, the devs, they didn't have anything to do with that, and they've been working so hard. It's one of those things. I wouldn't want Halo or any big narrative game on Xbox spoiled for me either.
Yeah, I mean, well said. Well said. No one should wish this. Do not take part in this. I'm sorry for all the developers, and I'm going to do my best to make sure I get to enjoy your work the way you intended it. Regardless of everything else going on, I can still think that they need their feet held to the fire over work practices. Shockingly enough, people, you can do both, okay? You can. I promise you. It's possible.
Just don't
I
be a
would
dick.
probably say that there's probably something also to learn from this on the development, and more so for the publishers themselves. With everything going on, I mean, it is kind of in a unique situation of why the game had been delayed. But I think that they may start looking at some of these delays in the future a little bit differently because of something like this. I mean, we know that the game already was finished. And you could see that Neil was disappointed that they are going to be doing a delay, but we knew why it was going to be happening. So I think that they may be loosening up. Maybe they're going to have to start trusting that digital copies are going to be something of the future, and maybe bank more on it. That's the only thing that I can think of for them in the future. How do you prevent things like this? How do you approach these kind of situations?
Yeah, I mean, good thoughts, and I know it's a complicated subject. It's a complicated subject because of how much a publisher, especially like PlayStation, depends on physical copies that they sell in emerging markets. Again, I point to the Final Fantasy VII Remake nonsense with how much physical copies have been impacted there, and Switch is experiencing shortages right now due to shipment delays. It's a mess. It's a mess. I wish them the best, but we do have to move on. As big as the topic this is, I'm looking forward to playing the game on June 19th. I'll say that. And I know for a fact James at least is going to be with me. I'm sure some of you others will as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely. And
I've
actually
been waiting for this for 6 years. 7 years now.
Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, I just want to note that it's actually coming out the day after my birthday. So I'll take this slightly belated birthday gift.
But everything's about you, Sam.
Yes. Exactly. Good catch.
I will buy it for you, but the way my quarantine is set up, I just can't function right now. I apologize.
No worries. No worries. All right, so we do have to move on. Let's move on to some leaks/rumors that are actually of a fun variety and pretty interesting, especially to Mr. Fade. All right, so did all of you guys see the credible report that came out regarding Horizon Zero Dawn?
Oh, yes.
Okay, you did.
Yep.
Fame, I'm presuming you did. Fame,
I know that it happened, but I don't know the details.
Oh,
I don't know the details. I just know that it happened, like James.
Okay, all right. So let's do a rundown. This report came from.
Okay, sorry. I know now.
Yeah.
Right, brain fart.
This report came from VGC, for anyone who didn't read it, who have had some reputable reports that were verified by other websites like Eurogamer or Kotaku, GamesIndustry.biz confirmed a couple, I believe. So, it's pretty credible. And according to them, Horizon Zero Dawn...
Sam, I'm sorry to do this. I have breaking news.
What?
You're not going to believe me when I say this. The Uncharted movie has been brought forward to July.
I don't believe you.
July of what?
This year.
Lies.
No. I don't believe
serious?
you.
There's no way.
Uncharted will now premiere on July 16th instead of October 10th. This is via IGN.
Ew. That's stupid.
What? Wow, that
All right.
Most movies won't even be
Where are you
open
seeing
yet.
this?
Oh, he's laughing. He's laughing.
IGN, man, and videogamer.com.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm going to go look into that, but while we look... Okay,
I'm gonna dig in, get as much detail as I can, and come back and put it.
All right, please do, because that is some whack on-brand 2020 nonsense right there. But going back to the Horizon Zero Dawn leak, according to VGC, Horizon Zero Dawn is now intended to be a trilogy, while Guerrilla Games left the event, no spoilers, but they left it open for new games. After its critical and commercial success, Sony desperately wants this to be a trilogy. Guerrilla Games is happily jumping on board. And according to VGC's report, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is going to feature co-op in some form. Co-op was intended for the original game. This is something not a lot of people know. It was originally built as a co-op game, but the CPU couldn't handle the big complex robot dinosaurs and a second player. It just couldn't do it. So they had to pick. They obviously went with the robotic dinosaurs. The sequel is going to have co-op. And interestingly enough, in addition to having a gigantic world, which is pretty par of the course at this point, VGC says that Guerrilla Games was at least at one point planning a co-op game preview, which would allow you to play part of the co-op portion of the game and then carry your progress over to the full game when it releases. What do you guys think about this? Fame, I want to hear your take first.
Stupid. I do not want... If it's a standalone co-op game, if you want to have robotic Monster Hunter World, fine, whatever, I don't care. I don't want to be playing and see another freaking Aloy flying across my map on a Stormbird. Like, I just think that's idiotic. You have a great premise. You have a lovable character, Aloy, in my opinion. You make the game the scale a lot bigger, which is what they said they're going to do, and you continue the formula. You do not go in and add co-op to the game unless it's a standalone, another something outside of the main game. Like the campaign does not need multiplayer. It takes away from it. Like I said, I don't want to be going up through the world and I see another Aloy. This will happen to be flying across the map in a storm. But I think that's idiotic, in my opinion. As someone who loved Horizon Zero Dawn, absolutely loved the game. You need a bigger world. Okay.
What if, on the other hand, Fame, it is a completely separate mode? What completely separate? Imagine that there's the campaign, and the campaign does its thing, almost like Red Dead Online, except it's just 2 players instead of like 30, 50, whatever. And then there's a co-op mode that also uses the same map, but other than that, it's different. You make a new character from some other tribe. You can play with a friend. You take on different quests. Would you be okay with that?
Yes, perfectly fine as long as it's not in the campaign.
Okay.
If it's in the campaign, I'm out.
Anyone else? You want to chime in on this? James, didn't you like Horizon Zero Dawn or Inferno? Anyone, please.
I've been focusing on this. It was a typo. The article I read. It's July 2021. That
makes more sense.
Yes. That is the Uncharted movie we're talking about. Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was alright. Sorry for being middle of the road. It was a video game that I played.
It's okay. Inferno.
Oh yes, I enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn. I thought the facial animations had issues, but I went as far as to platinum the game, so I enjoyed my time with it. I kind of disagree with Fane to an extent. Like, I agree there should be a separate mode too, as an option. Like, I could see a trials mode, like take out as many Stormbirds as you can, or try, or like a horde mode, basically where you're trying to go as many rounds as you can. But a optional drop in and drop out co-op. And he said flying on a Stormbird. Please make Stormbirds and Thunderjaws rideable. That was the most disappointing part of this game.
That's super dope. I just don't want to see me riding one and then see somebody and see Aloy again riding one going past me. That's all. I'm all for riding them, just not in the campaign with somebody else.
Yeah, I could see like a challenge mode or something like that, but I don't know how you'd pull that off with the campaign now.
I just don't bother me. A duplicate doesn't bother me. I guess it's just me. And then the cutscene, of course, you don't see him. It's just because I think PlayStation needs more, co-op or anything that multiplayer type things. That would be nice, but that's
the
just
only
me.
Additional mode that I would like for this game would be like a racing segment, and then you could call it Forza Horizon Zero Dawn.
Jesus.
I would have to say I'm actually opposite. I know I have to be the opposite guy. And they kind of talked about this last night on Weapon Wheel. I kind of heard a little bit of the arguments. Well, what game has done it before? Where something like this that is a single player driven game that either added a co-op mode that was successful doing so, or and it didn't ruin the narrative or the story of the game, or you had something that like assisted you, like, and it was said repeatedly, done over and over, that it's never been done before. And I call bullshit on it. And this is the reason why. Take Resident Evil 5, for example. It is a story-driven game. Whether you want to argue it is or is not, Resident Evil is a story-driven game. It does offer a co-op mode, and when you're not playing with somebody else, you're going to have an AI partner. Now, I get that she has been by herself in the first game, but hasn't Kratos gone through 4 games where he was by himself before you had a son that assisted you? That's a perfect example where God of War could easily put somebody in there as a co-op, and you have that as an option. Now, that's between you and your friend who you're playing with, who gets to play as Kratos or the son. And I know that we're talking about Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm just showing examples of where you can find segment ways to actually fit something like this in. Now, that's going to be up to the developer to figure out how they want to do this. I don't necessarily agree that co-op is going to ruin an experience. That's an option. It doesn't mean that you have to do this co-op.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's one take on it. I think for me, here's the problem. Here's the problem, Dizzy. I'm kind of inclined to agree if this was a game like Resident Evil or Halo or Gears or anything like that. But as mild and shallow as they are, it's an RPG. Now, it might have mild, shallow choices, but at the end of the day, it is an RPG with choices, somewhat branching paths, different dialogue, slightly different opinions that Aloy will have. I agree with Fame that I simply don't see it working in a campaign cinematic narrative structure. Personally, I don't see it. If I can be proved wrong, I am more than happy to be proved wrong. On the other hand, I am very enthusiastic about a separate mode. The idea of a Monster Hunter world, hey, there's this massive titanic, robot dinosaur, the likes of which you don't see in the first game, and you need 2 players to bring it down, or 3 or 4 players. I'm assuming 2, but it could be 3 or 4. Yeah, I'm all for that. I think that could be interesting, and that could give the game some longevity beyond the initial campaign. There's that, which I think is interesting. I also think from the nature of this report, it's pretty clear this is going to be a PS5 only game. This is not going to be on PS4. This will be a loss leader on PS5. When do you guys think it will release? That's another question, because I know a lot of people initially thought, it'll be a launch game for the PS5, or it'll be early in 2021 at the latest, maybe February or March. But if there's co-op in there and there's other stuff, then that sounds to me like it would have extended development time a little bit. Not to mention the work from home. Any thoughts?
I'd say no sooner than late 2022.
Okay, you're going all out there.
Yeah, I mean, they spend time on their games, so it's not uncommon that we're going to see something about it and then actually not see the game release until about 2 to 3 years later. They've been known for that, so I wouldn't be surprised if they show something maybe later this year, a little bit about what they're doing with the next one, and 2022.
Yeah, I'm with that. I think a little bit earlier in the year because the game release window. I mean, you can release a game anytime now and it will be successful. I think it's more of a summer game. I would have said June.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. Fame, any thoughts?
Sorry, I had a raging 4-year-old. What I missed?
No worries.
When
Horizon
do
Zero
you
Dawn
think?
2 release date.
Oh. I'm thinking late 2021, possibly spring 2022. PlayStation's known for dropping games early spring, like big titles. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them drop it, spring 2022. Wouldn't be shocked.
Okay. All right. I'll go on record. I think right now it is planned as the 2021 game. Horizon Zero Dawn was critically acclaimed. It has like an 88 on Metacritic OpenCritic. It sold over 10 million copies as of over a year ago. It's probably higher than that now. It's a big name. It's a big name for the PlayStation brand. I think they're going to put it out there as the first massive, not the first PS5 exclusive, but the first massive PS5 exclusive for holiday 2021. So I'll go on record there. But yeah, interesting times. But moving away from the games talk, James, we have a movie to talk about. More specifically, a musical adaptation of a movie, don't we?
Yes. A movie adaptation of a musical, I think you mean.
Yes, rather.
Yes. So last week, we began basically Film Club. We started with a film called The Last 5 Years, which is an adaptation of a musical of the same name from the early 2000s. This is my favorite musical of all time, and when I explain it, you'll understand why I like it so much. So it is effectively a 5-year relationship between a writer and an aspiring actress. But here's the thing. She tells her side of the story from the end to the beginning, and he tells his side from the beginning to the end. And it's all done as a series of solo songs. So it's effectively musical monologues. The show is very short. It's only about 80 minutes long. And you really see all of these unique perspectives of the relationship that you don't get to see. You don't get to see real conversations happening, especially on theater. It's very big. It's melodramatic. It's a smaller part of a larger issue. But it boils down to like, why do I love someone? What makes me happy? What could happen to ruin a relationship that is supposedly so good? And using the time jumping, so you have like the first song is her reading divorce papers, and his first song right after is I've just met the coolest girl at the end of our first date. It's a truly unique show, and it, for my money, it adapts to film better than most other musicals because it is so singular and so filmic. I absolutely adore it. The film version is very good, starring Anna Kendrick and Jeremy Jordan, who they never played the characters on stage, but they absolutely kill it in the film. Anchorman and Dollface watched it.
Yes, we did. Hi.
Hey!
Hey,
We did watch it. I'm sorry. He is currently occupied right now, but I told him if I needed to, I could take over. I did enjoy the movie. I'm sorry. For Ms. Kendrick.
You didn't enjoy it.
I did enjoy it. But
Oh,
you gotta
great.
realize, like, I'm so used to seeing her and like Trolls and so to hear her hit a range that I've never known she could do, I'm just like struck. It's
Well, the
just,
thing is, her origins are in theatre. She was in a Tony Award-winning play and musical when she was like a teenager.
And see, I would have never known that. Like the first time I ever really heard of her, my mom was watching. It's like I can't remember what the name of the movie's called, but it's
Twilight.
Like, no.
Up in the Air.
Like I knew she was in Twilight. Like I get that, yeah, but I didn't think she would sing.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh God, Jesus Christ, she's in that too. Jesus, I got a lot to redo. No, it's the film where it's like 3 of them where they're like
Pitch Perfect.
Yes, that. My mom watched them on. She watches them on a complete like loop. She loves those so much, and like, just to hear her sing was enough to be like, oh, okay, she's really got talent. It's not just, I'm here to be an actress. It's she clearly every role I've seen her in, she brings more to the table than she did before. And to see her in this musical, wow.
Yeah, and like the show it sort of plays with like Tao theatre workers because she's an aspiring actress, so there's like lots of in jokes. There's a brilliant scene where she's rehearsing this song for an audition, and then once she's singing the audition, she's singing all the things in her head.
Yes.
It's like, when you come home, why did I pick this song? Why did this pianist hate me? Why did I wear these shoes? I hate these shoes. Why is that man reading my resume? Don't look at my resume. It's so like it's the anxiety that every performer's ever had and standing in front of someone. It's the most.
I told
and
Ivan,
but it's also like
that's
unbelievably sad.
Like and to watch it, and towards the end, like when he wrote the letter, and she's standing outside, it's like, is this how you really want to remember her?
Yeah.
Through everything
There's this brilliant moment
on.
There's this brilliant moment on in the stage, and they do a really good job of it. So because it's got this dual narrative thing. It's nice to talk about something that it's impossible to spoil because it opens with the ending. So, like, because of the dual narrative, they eventually meet a point in the middle, and the middle of the show is the wedding. So you've had this entire show where they've been on their own, and then finally they're on stage together, and there's about 25 seconds where they are looking each other in the eyes, singing to each other, they're confessing their love at the vows of their wedding, and then they swap over, and it's magical. It's the apex of musical theatre for me, and they do such a good job of it in this film.
It's like where X and Y meet for that 1 second, and then it all goes on its own track. Yes, I completely... I mean, I've never even heard of the guy who plays her husband, and his vocal range, it's pretty good.
If you don't know him from anything, he is in The Flash, the TV show. He plays the guy who makes her cape and her costume at the very beginning of the show, and he's in it consistently. But he's a big Broadway dude. He was the original choice to play Zac Efron's character in The Greatest Showman, but then they went with Zac Efron for money. But yeah, I really recommend this musical for people who necessarily don't like musicals because they think, mostly because they just haven't seen enough, or the ones they haven't seen, they've been a bit too, I'm really happy and I'm going to sing about all my happiness. It's not that. It is so stripped down. It's just... It's very few things in this world I call perfect, and I think this is a perfect musical.
And I mean, like, I really like the way, some of the songs started out just for like 5 or 6 seconds of them talking, and then it starts into a song. Like for that, when they were starting to argue about she's not wanting to go to his party, he was just talking, and then it just took off into this beautiful song. And I mean, I was very like, am I only gonna like really truly side with her? Is it because I'm a woman? Like I was, contemplating, okay, like, are either of them really at fault? Is it because she moved technically to be in the show to try to get some street credit? That way when she moved back, she would have a better chance of getting gigs and stuff like that. Like, I didn't know if it was the distance. I was questioning everything the whole entire time. Like, is it just because you guys are so far apart?
it's so weird that like there is no real right answer for who is at fault for this, because it's not, because life isn't like that. It's not black and white.
Right.
And this show does that. It's perfect. It's a great show.
It was good, and I mean, it really just it when she was talking about the guy that when they were in the car and they're driving, and this is when they're really starting to feel the love, and she was talking about the guy that left her a note on the pillow and just left. It's like, wow, okay, she's really been through a lot to get to where she is. So I could understand why she wants this to work out for herself.
Yeah.
It was just I'm probably gonna watch it again, to be honest with you.
You should. It's definitely something that benefits a rewatch, because you do notice little subtleties of. I'm currently making a video essay about it. I love it so much. For the people who've been listening to the show for a while, might remember a couple of years ago I directed a musical. This is the musical I directed.
Holy shit! This is the musical you directed?
This is the one. But yeah.
Wow. Sorry, I'm back. Sorry.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Been a hectic little time. I know I basically missed the entire show.
That must have been the biggest poo in the history of poos.
Well, I'm not one to brag.
Ivan's getting up on the toilet, his legs falling asleep and shit. Fucking stumbling down the hallway.
Yeah, no. So James, I want to make sure I at least got this part, because I did watch the movie last night and this morning. I don't know if you mentioned this at all yet, but I had a theory that the entire thing is from the perspective of Kathy. The entire thing. It's just her mentally going through the history of the relationship and the breakup.
That's a cool theory. It's probably not true, because the show is loosely based on Jason Robert Brown's failed marriage that he then wrote a musical about.
Yeah.
And the woman who is effectively Kathy in this scenario is credited as one of the producers. Mm-hmm. So I doubt that theory, but it is cool, and I'm glad that you engaged with it.
Yeah. I sat there the whole time, and basically every single thing that happened, in terms of the pros and cons, everything that he did in that relationship was mainly focused on her career and her career only. It came off as, I'm only here because I like your ambition. And that was pretty much it. But that's the impression I got from it. And because everything that was focused was on, well, I'm successful and you're not successful.
Just make you successful.
So,
I mean, one could argue that they both were too focused on their own career.
Yeah.
And that could have been that's one reason why it could have been the downfall. It could have been that she was jealous and couldn't admit it to herself. It could be that he found success and didn't like that he was dragging someone along. There's so many different ways that you could interpret this story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I say this again. I recommend this to people who don't necessarily watch musicals. One, it's short. You're done. You could watch this film twice and have a bunch of time left over in Avengers Endgame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely short. Like I like the fact there was no filler. It was just like song to song to song to song and go from there. Like that was enjoyable. But yeah. Other than that, just quick run through the topic stuff. Yes, The Last of Us 2 leaks are real. I've seen them. I don't know. Did we talk about this actual gameplay that leaked of like every scene?
We are not giving details.
Yeah, we're not giving
except
any
to
details.
say this is serious.
Like this is like I overheard a little bit, Sam. Like this is probably the most serious leak we've ever had of any game, because they wasn't just some Reddit post that said, "Oh yeah, here's what's gonna happen," and we can all go, "Ah yeah, sure, whatever, screw you." No, this is like they actually leaked the entire, like every major portion of the game. Like, oh boy, that's a rough one. Other than that, yeah, we got release dates. I'm sure Fame brought up saying that this is probably not planned by them to do it.
Yep, it wasn't.
Yep.
Their hands were forced.
Yep, I agree with that. Gears Tactics, no opinion. Horizon Zero Dawn, return to mediocre. All right, cool.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Horizon Zero, more like Horizon Zero Yawn. Am I right, boys?
No, you mean Horizon Horizon Many Yawns.
Bring back Dollface. She's a better host. Bring her back.
I think I did okay.
Yeah, it sounded okay. I was kind of in and out a lot, but all right. So, do we do outros yet? And
not yet.
We have to introduce the film for next week.
Yes. What is the film for next
And because we're going in a beautiful alphabetical order, because that's easy like this, it's Mike. However, Mike, as you didn't watch the film from this week, you don't get to pick.
Oh.
No, I'm being cruel. What's your pick?
All right, so I apologize if we already talked about this film on here before. It's free on Amazon Prime, The Lighthouse.
Nice.
Really good.
Nice.
Really good.
Okay.
Everybody knows how much I love The Witch. So this is the same director, Robert Eggers, who's a phenomenal director, and the same production studio, A24. I was hesitant to pick it. I've only seen it once, and I definitely feel like this is a movie that I'm going to have to watch again, and I plan on doing it because this is one of those movies where there's stuff that you're going to miss the first time that you watch it. So it definitely lends itself to multiple viewings. It's a great movie. It's shot in an extremely unique manner, which I don't know how many of you guys have seen it. But once you watch it, you'll know exactly what I mean. So,
are you talking about the aspect ratio?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's 1:1, so it's a square.
Yeah. It's not even like 4:3. It's a square. There's a big sense of claustrophobia in certain parts of the movies, especially on the interior of the lighthouse. And I think the aspect ratio enhances that claustrophobic feeling. And the fact that it's shot in black and white is also very unique. Really heightens up the atmosphere, and the movie is kind of bleak overall. And that's another area where the way that it was shot in black and white kind of enhances the overall bleak feeling that you get from watching the movie. I'm going to give it another watch. Looking forward to discussing it next week, but that's going to be my pick, The Lighthouse.
For reference too, Mike, before I forget, Dollface and I are on there. We started watching The Witch.
And I quit it. I quit it because a puppy dog died, and I saw entrails, and I was like 50 minutes later, I was like, well, what happened to the children? Nope, they did that dog wrong. I'm out. Here you go.
The Witch, Dollface, like I've talked about this movie so much on this podcast. It is easily my favorite horror movie in the last 10 years. Easily.
So do I understand we get to continue mocking Ivan for not finishing it?
I'm going to finish it.
Yes.
I'll finish it someday.
Sure
When
thing.
she's not home, I will.
Yeah. All right. So do our outros. So we're all going to watch The Lighthouse for next week. Dollface has already seen it. Figure it out. So, all right. Let's do our outros. Let's get everybody out of here. Dizzy, sir, where can the people find you?
You can find me at iDizzy81 across the board, any platform, and of course over at Lords of Gaming.
All right. And Inferno?
It's been a pleasure, guys. Great talk. You can find me on Twitter at 1ST Saint Inferno. Do a lot of political stuff and gaming talk. So that's me.
All right. And James?
The good people can find me on the tweets at James_S Wilson, and maybe other places soon.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's right, OnlyFans.
How much is the subscription?
Holy shit, I almost died.
James says he has.
I still got some Rona in my chest, man. You can't make me laugh like that.
James,
is it tasteful? Can I ask that? Is it tasteful?
Yeah, I think you have to subscribe to find out. I mean, you got it. You've got to. Please don't make me actually do this.
The world wants to see 6'6" of red. Make it happen.
I'm 6'2". If you're gonna make fun, you got to be correct about it.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Anchor that's like 6'6".
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the short one here.
No, I'm the short one here.
Okay.
All right. So, sorry if I James there. Fame, where can people find you, sir?
At Fame ENT across the board. And I just want to say 5'11", 2020.
Is that how tall you are?
No, I'm 6 foot. I'm 6 foot.
Close enough.
Barely, but I made it.
Close enough.
But 5'11", 2020. Save the date.
I've been waiting to say that all day.
You suck.
All right, so Sam? Sam?
I think he's died. I think he's
No, you broke up for me. Did you call on me?
Yes, we called on you.
All right. Yeah, so I'm Sam. You can find me on Twitter at Samuel Tolbert. That's TOLBERT. Got some guides on Gears Tactics coming soon. And then I also have a review on XCOM Chimera Squad, which should be out tomorrow. So check that out.
Dope. And Mike?
All right, guys. You can find me on Twitter at The Truth of Mike P. Pretty much everywhere else at Mike P. The Truth. Thank you for tuning in.
All right. And we are out of here. Dollface and I are off to the abyss. And I hope you guys have a good week on the greatest show on Mondays. See you guys later.